What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 7, Episode 15, and it's called Chapter 132, Miss Teen Riverdale.
Ooh, are you Miss Teen Riverdale?
Little Ronan's joining us because he won't nap right now.
He won't go to his nap, so he wants to be on Recap Rewind.
Be sure to stick around for the end of the episode, guys. We're going to go through our recap roundups, our best lines, our best moments of the episode, so stick around for that.
As always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment. Oh, excuse you. Oh, boy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And let's get into the episode, y'all.
Yeah, so tell me your thoughts.
I was not a big fan of this episode. I felt like it was a whole 40 minutes just to have like Betty like reluctantly say I love you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like in terms of like moving things along, nothing happened.
Nothing.
In terms of like pretty and like, was it nice to see the girls in dresses? Sure. Like it was a beautiful episode, but outside of that, like I wasn't a fan of it. How about you? Like,
yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I think that the episode was meant for Ethel. Like, I feel like this was Ethel's this was Ethel's moment, right? Like, she really did get her moment in this, and we did get to see sort of or picture how her life could go after this, because she's lost her parents, and who's gonna pay for her, what school is she gonna go to. So to find out that she's been awarded these things, we kind of see like an ending or fairy tale ending for Ethel, which I felt was really cute. But yeah, overall it did not go anywhere. We didn't get like, we just heard Betty say I love you to her mom, like that was huge, but like in terms of the entire season, like not much happened. So I know everyone's impatient. Like, we are coming down to the last, like, what, 4 or 5 episodes?
This is the fifth of the last 5 episodes.
So the fact that we're not even, I was just shocked that we didn't get a little bit more in terms of the higher level of the season.
Like, things aren't, exactly. But at the same time, like, when you look at the current like storyline, what is really even happening? The murderer's gone. I guess we're still waiting to see what happens with the men of the town. But outside of that, there's really not much else to talk about in this world, which begs you the question, like, why are we still staying here for the next 4 episodes? It feels like they're really going to drag it out to the end.
And there were moments in this episode where I was like, you know, Betty was like, we are the women of the future. We are the future. I was like, okay, tie it together. Like, let's do this. And then like nothing happened. So I was like, okay, so we're not going there.
Exactly.
So
I just anyway, well, let's get through the episode. I feel like it was pretty straightforward, so like we'll power through it. So it starts off with Betty reading letters because she's the girl next door,
right?
And it's all these girls and people that she knew, like Veronica, Tony, Cheryl, Midge, Evelyn, Ethel, like basically like writing to her. Like Veronica's like, why doesn't everybody love that I own a business? And Tony's just like,
I just want to be a businesswoman, Daddy. Why can't I?
Woman all the time. Yeah.
Nobody takes me seriously.
Like, girl, relax.
Well, yeah.
Your problems are no one's problems. And then I think Tony, like Cheryl's like about like hiding herself. Tony, I think, is about, I forgot hers is about. Is it about being, I don't remember. Is it about being a black woman in
it was town? Like no one's gonna like see her like
yes. And then like Midge talks about like, you know, like being pregnant. Evelyn, I forget hers. Ethel's basically like, what am I gonna do with my life? So then as she's reading these letters, it transitions to Ethel at the table while Betty comes downstairs at the Cooper residence, and Ethel is making posters for Alice for Miss Teen Riverdale.
Right.
And Alice, Betty, and her have a conversation about it. Alice is obviously leading it on the television show, like the grandstand or whatever. And this year it's going to be like national. It's going to be televised to a bunch of people. So they're kind of upping the ante. They're like giving away like a car and like a scholarship, which kind of got Betty to like her ears perk up.
Yeah.
Oh, oh boy.
Oh yeah. Oh, you
like,
see that yawn?
Hello.
You getting sleepy?
He needs some sleep. Anyway, so then it cuts to Riverdale High, and Veronica decides that she wants to sign up for this pageant. And then Betty's like, but why? She kind of like lays it all down. She's like, it's sexist. They pit women against each other. Like, it's all like old timey. And it's interesting that Betty has this thought in the 50s. Like, what girl is questioning something like this? But I mean, I guess she's also like very much against it. And Veronica kind of says, like, we all kind of win at the end of the day if you look at it in a different way. Like, we all can go into this, we can all have a chance to like get money, and you know, like we're just like putting a pageant on. Like, Veronica didn't really think much about it, so she wants to sign up. And then Tony says that she wants to do it because she wants to represent all the Black girls who don't, you know, like are not represented in the town. It's the first year that they're being integrated, so she's like, I want to be there. Cheryl's like, I want to do it, but then she wants to like help the downtrodden in some weird way. I have no idea what that means. And then it shows Midge talking to Fangs, and she's like, I also want to do it because it might be the last time that I'm going to be able to do something like this as a teen. Right. Because she's pregnant. And then finally Veronica says, you know, maybe you're just pushing this because you don't, you know, like it's your, like outside of the fact that your mom is the one that's running it, like maybe you should do it just so you can get the scholarship money of all things at the very least, right? So then finally she gets Betty to sign up. So Betty signs up. Then it cuts to the Cooper residence, and Alice is like, so what are you up to? Like, I heard you're the new like recruit, you're like the new person to sign up. And Alice goes on to say that she used to be Miss Teen Riverdale, like when she was in high school. She said that she wanted to be like a stewardess and like travel the world on an airplane. And then Betty's like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like they have like a little moment. They have a few of these moments this episode where they have like this mother and daughter thing going on where she's like learning a little bit more about her mom. And then, it's your favorite song. And so then Alice
I don't think he likes Alice.
He does not like Alice. So then it turns out that Alice is going to be the guide. She's going to be the coach that's going to guide them through the whole process. Before I get to that, like I feel like you get a little glimpse into why Alice just kind of like gave up on her dream. She's like, I just got married to your husband, like to Hal. Then I had Polly, then I had you, and then that was it. She kind of just like fell into like the mom role. But you don't get much more past that. You just kind of find out that that's a bit of her history.
So like, even to your point, like I know you were always wondering about Alice this season, like we are finally getting like one layer peeled away from her when there's 5 episodes left of the freaking season. But I was like, okay, I'm hopeful for Alice this episode. If we're already getting this, like maybe there's more to come, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like this might be the last time.
No, but like this was it. I meant like this episode. This episode. This was the final episode that we're gonna get anything. So then it cuts to Riverdale High, and all the girls are practicing. They have like books on their heads. They're all practicing except for Ethel. Ethel's like taking notes and like checking in on everybody. So clearly she's not gonna be a part of this group that signed up. But she does have like a cute little daydream. Like she daydreams that she wins, and like it's cute. And Jughead's her boyfriend.
Jughead's her boyfriend, and she's like, I just wish that my parents could see this. And she's like, your parents are right there. And she's like, I wish I could just get my art in a museum. She's like, your art's at the Guggenheim. Like she just has this huge fantasy of what she wanted. Anyway, so then it cuts back, and she's obviously not in as a part of this group. Then it cuts to Mary's shop because they need to buy all the dresses, they need to get fitted, and Mary and Alice kind of have a cute moment where she's like, well, I competed against you in high school, and she's like, I thought that being Miss Riverdale back then was like the best thing, end all be all. I was gonna go off and like do all these great things, but now like that doesn't really mean much. Like she's like, I feel like these girls can do anything, like with or without like Miss Riverdale, you know.
Mary saying that,
and obviously Alice is like, well,
Alice is like, shut up.
And she didn't even really care. And then as they're hemming the dresses, Ethel starts crying, and Betty Sorry, yeah. To cut a bunch of stuff out.
So one, I think no, you're probably right, but I don't know if this happens before with Midge.
What happened? Oh no. So yeah, so
it's
that's
after that.
That's the last little bit of this scene. So Midge can't fit into her dress, and then Alice right away like clocks her, like the camera like zooms into her face, and she's like
I've gained a little bit of weight. She's like, I'm like, okay, it could be anything.
Like, relax. And then she's like, I need to talk to you afterward. So they talk after. But before that happens, it cuts to the Cooper residence, and Betty asks Ethel like why she was crying.
Yeah.
And Ethel says basically like, I want to compete, but she's like, I see all you beautiful girls. I don't think I can.
And she's like, I'm not the teen, like the thing of Riverdale. Like, she's like, my parents have been murdered. She's like, I draw weird pictures. And she's like, I'm just not that girl. And Betty's like, yeah, but like you can be, like, why not?
Right. But then she kind of like brushes it off. Ethel's like, forget I said anything. Like, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. But Betty's obviously has this on her mind now. So then it cuts to Pop's diner, and Alice asks Midge like how far along she is. Like right off the top, she's like, so you're pregnant. Midge can't even pretend.
She knew right away.
At that point, she's like, I know the glow. I know what it is. You are pregnant. What, like, and then we don't see much past that scene. No. Like it just cuts after that. Then it cuts to the next practice, and Alice basically announces to all the girls, Midge is gone, and actually she's not even going to be in high school anymore. She's gone to the Sisters of Quiet Mercy
for like
to finish her
7 to 9 months, and then
7 to 9 months,
and then Veronica's like, wait, what?
She's like 7 to 9 months, and then she's like, girl, like get a clue, obviously. So then after that, Riverdale, like the girls are talking in the lounge, and they're all talking about Midge.
Why
it's really funny because
was Evelyn there? Like she, and I know they kept making fun of her. Like they kept saying like, Cheryl's like, why the F are you even here? Yeah. But I was like, but why is she here? Like why? Yeah. Like she's a Debbie Downer.
Crew at all, ever. So I'm just like, yeah, it was a very random thing to have her there. But I mean, it was funny just watching her getting kind of like pooped on by Cheryl.
Yeah.
So they talk about Midge. It was kind of weird. I don't know about you, how you felt about this, but Betty was asking like a lot of questions about like, she's like, so they had sex?
I was wondering like, so first she asks, she's like, well, wait, she's like Midge and Fangs had sex, and Veronica's like, duh, like how do you have a baby? She's like, no, obviously I know like how they had a baby, but I'm like, where does she get, like, what does she want to know? Like, what's her question? And then she was like, no, I just want to understand, like, don't you wear protection? Like, you know? And then they were like, oh, I think like they did, but like it slipped off or like it didn't work or whatever. Yeah, and then it turned into this whole discussion about birth control. Yeah. And I was like,
about the pill and about like the pill. Women have to be more responsible because obviously, guys are not responsible.
It hadn't come out at that time. No, so Veronica's like, somebody should make a pill that like stops women's thing from working.
You know what would have been funny if they actually said like men should get a pill to stop them from getting.
Thank you for saying that, cool. Because I understand where this conversation was at that time. But when you look at it from today's perspective as well, like a man created birth control. Like you're trying to act like it's like this feminist movement, but like, girl, it's really not. Like the man is forcing you to take a medication that stops your entire like natural like process. Yeah. And it would have been funny if, to your point, if they flipped that in this episode, they were like, a man should take birth control. That would have been like funnier.
Yeah. Even a conversation. We know it doesn't happen in the future, but like even to like bring it up, like these progressive girls who are trying to talk about like men and, you know, like their role in all of this, like it should have been that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So they talk about Midge, talk about the pill. Then it cuts to Betty telling Ethel that she should enter. She's like, you should enter now that there's a spot. And Ethel's kind of like feeling iffy about it, but then I think she does agree by the end of it all. Then it cuts to Fangs finding out about Midge from Tony and Cheryl. He freaks out. He's like, where is she? What happened to her? And Tony and Cheryl basically tell him to calm down. And it's so the thing that's annoying to me is that Tony basically from the beginning of the season, she's like, you're just going to become a famous musician and then they're going to love you. And I'm like, girl, can't like when answer. Like she's a Sisters of Quiet Mercy. What are you going to do about that? She's like, I just don't. Anyway, so she's like, stay calm. We'll figure it out. Like Cheryl's like, I'll try to get you a phone call because like we like fund, like my family funds the Sisters of Quiet Mercy, and just like chill until then. So then it cuts to Riverdale High. And now the girls are talking about Midge. They're saying like what happened to her, what's the whole deal. And I noted here that Betty like was very interested.
She was like lurking hard.
She was lurking hard. I was like, first of all, you're a 17-year-old girl.
Like,
you're not like
sex.
She's like, what that?
You like fuck? She's like, and I'm like, I know what you're saying because I was like, why? What's up with her? Why is
so
she
many
like,
questions?
Why is she asking so many questions? And I think even Veronica was like, girl, like, are you good? Like,
are you serious? She's like, how did she get pregnant? I'm like, what?
And then she kind of was like, but how does she get? She's like, I know obviously what they did, but she's like, don't they wear like protection? Like, don't you take like means to like protect yourself so that you don't get pregnant?
Yeah.
And then I think Tony or someone was like, well, maybe it slipped off or
like, yeah, it was like this one time it happened, and that's what Fang
And then
said
they go into this whole rant about how like Veronica's like, somebody should come up with like a pill that we could just take and like we don't get pregnant.
Yeah. And I'm just like, first of all, I was like, what a random conversation, like just generally what a random conversation to have. Like, why are we talking about contraception and pills? And it was a very interesting take to like just throw it in there. But then I also had the question, like this could have been a great opportunity for like Veronica to spin it. She's a businesswoman in the 50s. She could have been like, those men, they should be taking something to 100%. Stop themselves from having, you know, like having the baby.
And I'm so glad you said that because I think in the moment I did understand why they had the conversation, especially like this episode. It's so female heavy. Like it's all about the girls.
For sure. All about
and whatever. And then that was an issue at that time. They probably hadn't come out with birth control yet. But to your point, it's like she's saying like, why can't we just take a pill and like magically we don't get like pregnant? But in some regards, like that's like the wrong way to think about it too. Like a man came up with birth controls to stop like a woman from you know getting pregnant, but like the men can do whatever the f they want. So to your point, like it would have been cool if like they flipped it and like she was like, well, a man should take a pill and like so that he doesn't knock us up, you know.
And that whole conversation, like if they want to talk about like the 50s, bring it back to the present and like the conversations that are happening now in the current world, that is one of the conversations, like male vasectomies, male birth control, and how like men are vehemently against it. Like, I would never do this to my body because like it changes my hormones. I'm like, guess what, bitch?
For centuries.
For literally like decades, these poor women have been doing that on the day to fucking day. So get with it. So I don't know. I just thought it would have been a cool conversation. Even if like one random, like maybe it wasn't Betty or Veronica or anyone, maybe someone just popped in and was like, or the boy should do it, you know what I mean? Like just something 100%. Funny. 100%. Anyways, it just felt like a miss. Anyways, let's so then they're talking about Midge, talking about the pill, and then it cuts to Betty telling Ethel to enter the pageant. She's like, now there's a space, Midge is no longer here, you should enter. And she finally kind of convinces Ethel to do the damn thing. So I think at that point she does enter. And then it cuts to a really quick scene where Fangs is like losing his mind, like over dramatically, that Midge has gone missing. I don't usually comment. I'm not gonna say nothing.
You always like, you don't comment. But we already got messages being like, I can't with Fangs is overacting.
I know. I'm just like, I would stay out of it. But so he freaks out because Tony and Cheryl just told him the news. And the one thing that I wanted to mention is the fact that Tony constantly brings up this one specific point. Fangs, don't worry. As soon as you get that gold record hit, they're gonna love you. They're gonna like accept you, and it'll be totally fine.
She makes it seem like it's as easy like getting a job. She's like, exactly. The second you get a job, they're gonna love you. Like she's like, the second you become world famous superstar, like they're gonna love you.
Yeah,
like,
all good. Pressure. No pressure at all. Yeah, exactly.
He's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep my calm. Cheryl's like, I have some ties with the Sisters of Quiet Mercy. I'll get you a phone call. Don't worry. Just like chill. I'm just the one thing
I still don't get the storyline. That's my thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's almost as if like in I don't want to say this in a bad way, but like in a really well like put together show, like where they like every single scene means something and there's a setup for something. You think that like this Fangs and Midge story is gonna like lead up to something really big, like a big incident at the very end that's gonna shake up the whole thing. That's how it should feel, but instead it's just this like random side story that like, yeah, we've grown to care about them as characters because they give them so much airtime.
They give them so much, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also just like, okay, like Fangs is boiling inside. Is it gonna be like a Romeo and Juliet situation where he's gonna like make a mistake and like scream at the parents, or like what's the point of him just chilling out while Midge is in like
Agreed.
I don't really,
that's my question.
Get it.
I think this late in the series, in the season, to your point, like I don't see that happening anymore because like if it was leading up to the like a big thing, like when is that going to happen?
Right. And will we care that much? We're going to be like, oh my God.
No, yeah, I'm not going to care.
Like Fangs and Midge are like, maybe.
Unless their child is like the Messiah.
Yeah.
And like he brings, but she's like only 3 months pregnant. Like what are we going to fast forward like 8 months?
I don't know, man. I have no
like 6 months,
clue.
whatever.
I actually want to like, do you remember that in the beginning of the season, they were talking about the comet coming around, but it was like the following year?
Yeah. It
was like some time outside
like that.
Yeah. Anyway, if anybody could let us know in the comments,
or like 2 years or something.
Yeah. Just so we can like keep the time. Cause I feel like that still has something to do with it. Anyway, maybe not. Then it cuts to Alice walking into the room while Ethel is getting ready. She's got like a beautiful yellow dress on. Betty's helping her out. And Alice is like, oh, what's going on up in this gig? And Betty's like, oh, well, Ethel signed up because now Midge is no longer a part of it. And Alice is like, can I just like talk to you for a second? Like poor Ethel is like so excited now. And even Alice was like, oh, but like who's going to be my assistant? And then Dilton comes in with a coffee.
He's like,
and
hello, madam, your coffee.
Here's your coffee. And then
also, I love that she just like owns the school. Like she just comes during school hours and like
she's just there now, I guess. So then after they have the conversation, Betty and Alice have a conversation. Basically, Betty's like, why can't she join? Alice is like, absolutely not. She does not represent Riverdale. But Betty, she makes the best point ever. She's an orphan. She needs us more than literally any of us.
Yeah, 100%.
Can you just give her the damn like prize?
Yeah.
And Alice is so vehemently against it. And I'm just getting so, by the end of this episode, I was like, okay, fine. But like by this point, I was like at peak level of patience with Alice. Anyway, so she says, no, figure it out. She's not going to be a part of this. You're going to have to tell Ethel. She's not going to be a part of this. So then it cuts to the dark room and Cheryl, Veronica, Betty, and I'm missing somebody, Tony. They're all talking. Betty tells them the tea, what's going on with the whole thing. And she says, like, what do I do? Like, I want Ethel to be a part of this. And they essentially said, like, why don't we just boycott the whole pageant? Like, if they can't, if she doesn't go, then I'll stand with you all and we all won't walk. Like, we won't do the pageant. And they're like, okay, cool. That sounds like a good idea. But then Veronica doubles down and says, instead of talking to your mom about it, why don't you talk to your dad about it? Because he's got a little bit different type of pull, and bring me along so then I can help negotiate some things because I'm outside of the family. I don't necessarily know why she needed to be there, because especially after this next scene, I was like, Betty could have done this totally by herself.
Yeah.
But anyway, it cuts to the studio. They're prepping for the whole thing. The pageant's about to start very soon, and Betty and Veronica go up to Mr. Cooper, talk to him, and he's like, I already got an earful from your mom. I'm not doing it. It's not going to happen. And then they essentially threaten him, like they said that they were going to do. And then he has to be like, okay, fine. He essentially like, I think they kind of threaten the fact that like, oh, all your sponsors are being like up there, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, but Betty could have done that herself. Anyway, cool. Betty and Veronica moment, cute. Then it cuts to the Cooper residence, and Alice is like, he yelling at Hal, like at home. she's like, how dare you go behind my back? Why did you do this to me? You know that this is like such a bad idea, blah, 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 blah. She's like screaming.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the entire time I was like, Ethel's like literally the other room. Like, why are you doing
really
this to her? And she literally was. And the one thing that I keeps ringing in the back of my head, and I don't think it's going to come up to anything because we're literally already 4 freaking episodes away to the end. She says like, everything I've done for you, everything that I've helped you do to Hal, as like one of the reasons why like she's mad. And one of the things that you mentioned like episodes ago was like, did he do something bad? Was he a serial killer kind of, that she covered for him? You know what I mean? Like, because that was how it was in the original season.
Yeah.
Like, is that ever going to come back around? But I don't know. Do you think it's going to make any connection at this point, or is she just like so arbitrarily being like, I help you with everything?
I feel like we got Alice this week, and we're not going to get any more.
We're done.
Because I don't know. Like, we're getting to the end. Like, what else do they want to show?
Yeah, and I don't think there's much left to do.
Yeah.
With Alice's character, and also I still don't think that she redeemed herself by the end of this episode. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I mentioned, Ethel overhears this while her and Betty are getting ready in the room because nobody locks their doors or closes their doors. Like, not that it would have made a difference, but literally, like, it zooms out of their room and like it goes into her room. I was like, wow, you guys just left all the doors open. So then, you know, Ethel's like, oh, are they like yelling about me? Betty's like, don't worry, it's fine. Like, they're just like jittery about like tonight. Then it cuts to the pageant, and it's like the first time I didn't even it didn't even like register with me that we hadn't seen any of the boys the entire episode.
Me too. I literally thank you for saying that.
I was so happy to see the girls like in play the entire time, that like the boys showing up just to stare at a TV. I was like, no, like I was like, it took me that moment. I'm like, where's Archie? Like, I haven't seen Archie for a second yet, because we did see Jughead in the beginning, in like Ethel's like dream sequence. Yeah.
But it's so funny that you said that, because I literally got to this point and I was like, oh my God, we haven't seen any of the guys. So it just kind of shows you that the girls can definitely just carry an episode too.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we didn't need this episode to
and we got a lot of Alice too.
Yeah, we did get a lot of Alice. So anyway, they're all sitting around the TV. It pops. They're all excited. Like, I think even Julian makes a comment. Oh yeah, one of the stipulations too, I should have said, that Betty and Veronica say to Mr. Cooper is that they're cutting the bathing suit segment.
That was so weird.
Which, why did you think it was weird?
No, like it was so gross that like because he's like, no, he's like, the judges love that, and she's like, yeah, obviously they're freaking 85-year-old men, like, and like half of them are teachers, out at our bodies. Like, yeah, like it's so disgusting.
And that's the thing. It was just like an interesting thing that they put in just to take it out, especially since I feel like regular Miss Universes or whatever still have that in play. So I'm just like, what are you trying to say here? I think
it was just like a nice like little like win for the girls, you know?
A win for the girls. So like, we're not going to be in bathing suits. I'm like, also like, let's not do that. So anyway, I think while they're all watching, Julie makes a comment like, oh, I'm so bummed that they removed the bathing suit moment. And I think Jughead even like
someone's
joked with
like,
him.
That's your sister, you creep. And he's like, oh like, yeah.
A little pervy. Anyway, so then it all starts. Kevin has a song. He's like, Miss America.
Of course, they had to throw Kevin in here somehow. Like, of course.
She is the one for you. I was like, okay, fine. Okay.
And then it was so tight because like Betty comes out.
Yeah.
Cheryl comes out. Mm-hmm. And then they have made Ethel and who else was it? Ethel and Evelyn.
Evelyn come at the same time. They made them
come out at the same time because they're like, bitch, we got no time for individual walks. Like, it needs to be the two of you.
Speed it up. Speed that shit up.
And then it went back to like Veronica, Tony. Like, they had their moment.
Even Tony had her own moment after everyone. It was just like Ethel and thing.
It was funny.
Everyone looked gorgeous.
They did.
That's so the hands
cute.
Down. Like, everyone looked beautiful.
The set looked amazing. Like, the visuals were just on point. Like, they did such a good job with that. I do feel like it was quite rushed. Like, this part of the episode felt very quick. And like, we spent so much time before it. I almost felt like they had sort of like cut these scenes quickly.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, we didn't even see any of their talents until
That's what I'm saying.
Like, we only saw Ethel.
I thought I missed it. I was like, did I miss something? Like, I had to like go back and look. I'm like, what?
I guess like it really wasn't the focus. We always find it always happens, right? You always say, like you always say, like I want to watch the dance. I don't want to watch the prep to the dance, and then we only get like 5 seconds.
Unless they filmed it, but then once they cut it all together, they're like, shit, like we need to have more like backstory like before we get to the actual stuff. Yeah, and that's spent all the time. Anyways, yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, everyone look gorgeous. They do their talents. We come off of watching like I don't know Veronica spinning batons or something like that. I forget what she was doing. And then Ethel's the final the final talent. She sings a song called "Who Will Love Me As I Am." She like.
I was like, girl. Where
were you gagged?
I was gagged. I was like, Shannon Purser, like for the win. Like she got her moment. You know what I mean? Like she really got her moment. Totally. Kevin was like crying. He was so impressed.
Everyone was gagged.
I've been the singer this whole time, and like it should have been Ethel.
It should have been Ethel the entire time. Even Clay at one point, he was like, we should have made it about her.
Oh my god, when Clay said that, because I was thinking, I was like, it should have been about her. Like, and then he said it. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like she's coming out of the ashes. She's coming out of like this dark time, and like look at her. Like she looks amazing. She's doing amazing, sweetie, you know. So
you're doing amazing, sweetie.
I loved it.
And she is quite a talent. I was so shocked to like see how like talented. I was like, where they've been hiding this little gem all this time.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a moment too, like you were saying, everybody's obsessed. Everyone's loving it. Everyone on the like watching at Pops is like loving it. Even like I think Reggie is like, oh my god, I think I'm in love with her.
Jughead was like,
he's like, get it, girl.
Anything she can't do?
Yeah, it's true. She's so like, cute. She's amazing. Alice, you see Alice, she kind of feels bad. You can tell that she's starting to feel some type of way about it. She's like, oh shit, I like fucked this whole thing up. Anyway, so with that said, they announced the final winner, and the winner is.
So this was very a Moonlight, La La Land, Oscars moment.
Yes,
where it kind of felt like the wrong person was called, and I mean, we obviously find out. So, did you expect her to do anything in this moment, Alice?
No, I honestly thought. I mean, maybe I wasn't paying close attention to it, but I thought that she called Ethel, and they actually all picked Ethel.
Yeah, you know what? You're right, because like I had different emotions. So first, I thought she was gonna not make Betty win. Like I felt like she was gonna punish Betty at first. I'm like, okay, she's gonna fuck it up for Betty.
Right.
Then when I saw Ethel's name, when she said Ethel's name, I'm like, oh my god, Ethel legit won.
Like legit won.
And then it like took a beat and it cut to the judges, and I was like, oh my god, Alice is lying. Like she called, and I was like, that's sick.
Even with Hal, I should have known because she like turns to Hal because Hal's like gagged.
Yeah.
But I thought it was just because like he opened the envelope and he was surprised that like they chose her. But she's like, smile for the camera, honey. Like, we're on national television.
Once the judges were like, huh? Like, we didn't pick that girl. No, we didn't choose I was like, oh my god.
Like something changed. Okay, I didn't even notice that because I was clearly. So that happens. Ethel wins. She wins a car. She wins a scholarship. Super happy for her.
I loved it so much because like, her really, dream came true. Like,
yeah, her dream came true. I mean, like, minus the fact that like, Jughead's not her boyfriend and her parents are still dead. Everything else she got.
And her art's in the Guggenheim. So
like, ooh, yeah.
It was
next scene is Fangs and Midge getting their phone call again. Random.
Like again, like why do I care? And like they reiterate the same things they've been talking about this entire. He's like, don't worry, babe. Like I'm gonna get you out. She's like, okay, babe. Yeah. Like go become like a star. Okay, I will to impress your parents. I love you. Like it's just like the same conversation. So it's like we're not learning anything new.
Exactly.
Her bump's not even growing.
I know the zoom out. I was like, girl, how did Alice even talk to you? Like I couldn't tell at all.
There's like nothing there.
So I don't know. I like we've already mentioned how we feel about it. I'm over it. I think I'm over it too. I know like people have said in the past, like, you know, Fangs and Midge are so cute. Yes, we get it. They're so cute. But like to your point,
so cute
we've literally
had say that.
The exact same like conversation for the past like that's all it's been all season.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my parents are rejecting me. Oh my god, I love you. Oh my god, I'm gonna become famous. Oh my god, I'm pregnant. Like it's been the same story over and over. There's no movement whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I just don't care. And like to your point, not even a movement and a baby bump. So
not even her being like, look at the baby, I have the picture. Like nothing. Like no gender party, nothing. Like give us something, Midge.
Anything. So then it cuts to Betty and Alice talking. I don't know if it's the next day, but they're at the Cooper residence.
Yeah.
And Alice is like, Betty. Or I think Betty says, like, I'm so excited. I'm so happy that Ethel won.
Yeah.
And then Alice is like, wow. She's
like, well, here's the card that really shows you. I was like, I was shocked that she even told Betty that. Like, I was surprised that she kept the card to, like, show her.
I mean, here's the problem that I have with Alice motherfucking Cooper and what they've done to her character by the end of the show is you're absolutely right. She shouldn't have shown the card. We could have just been like, wow, what a great moment.
But she had to gloat.
But instead, she had to gloat and she had to punch down and she had to like keep saying what she had to say. And so anyway, she ends up telling.
So she shows the card. It says Betty Cooper. And then Betty's like, Ethel didn't win.
Ethel didn't win. Yeah.
And she's like, no. She's like, I called her name so she can have a better life. And
Right. She doesn't say like, thank you, Betty, for like giving me like, you know, like no like inspiration from her daughter. The one thing that really pissed me off about this moment is this supposed to fix the fact that Alice is a total like, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't give me that.
It did after, though. It did for me after.
You're thinking that she's like sitting there being like, oh my God, she's sang and now I like feel bad. Like, that was the moment. That was the moment that made you feel like you needed to like, she sang I Dreamed a Dream. And then like suddenly you were like, oh, we got to give her the scholarship. Like, that was the one thing that did it. It wasn't your daughter literally pleading, stating the case. The facts are there.
Maybe it was an accumulation of all those things, but maybe it like hit her in that moment. What really got me, and like I almost started to cry, was when she was like, you know what, Mom? That's okay. You can sit there and you can do what you want. But she's like, I know you did something good. And I know you did it from the goodness of your heart. She's like, I know you saw her and she needed that thing. And she's like, I know you did it because of that. So she's like, you know what, Mom? I love you. But goodbye. And I just thought that was such a great way of still coming, like saying your piece and not holding that anger and not holding that like resentment, but being like, I see what you did. You did something good. Right. You still might be like shady and conniving and whatever, but just know that you're my mom. And like as she walks away, like Alice starts to like really cry, and like that really broke my heart, because like I feel like she's finally, it's opening up now, but it's like a little too late, you know?
It's way too late for me. Yeah, I hear what you're trying to say, but I feel like the writers were trying to really like get us to patch this whole relationship up, give Alice like her redeeming moment, but what she's done in the past, it doesn't patch it up. It doesn't make anything better, in my opinion. I do feel like even in that moment, like Alice was doubling down on what she was saying. She's like, I guess you'll never know if I did it because I didn't want you to win, or if I actually cared about Ethel. I'm like, could you just tell her that you love your daughter? Like, what did she do to you? Did she rip up your vagina when she came out? Like, I don't know what she did to deserve such hatred from Alice. I don't get it.
But I had hope.
And on top of that, we still can't forget the fact that she fucking sent Midge out to fucking Sisters of Quiet Mercy and Ethel at one point. So unforgivable. Those moments I will never forget. And I feel like Alice really, in this 50s years timeline, they really done messed her up. She's not the character that I wish that she could have been.
Her when she came back from that cult. You forgave her when she tried to kill her child and in the bathtub. You forgave her.
No.
Why can't you forgive her?
No, at those points in time, I feel like we had already talked about the fact that she was like on a long, winding way down. Like, but
then we forgave her. We did.
I don't remember.
We did. We were like, okay, Alice.
You're so
like,
silly.
Yes, you're right. There was a time. You're right. But I do feel like that last moment with her when she was like, I love you, Mom. And even though she can't say it back, like it did. I was like, I felt that.
Yeah, she does. I did write it down. She says, you can say whatever you want, Mom, downplay, equivocate, but you did a decent thing for once, and I love you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
and again, like her reaction could have been like, but she like started to break down. So that reaction to me was a big sort of like thing to see. I'm not saying I forgive her, obviously, but there was a little bit. And again, I don't know if we're gonna get any more Alice after this. Like, we might just stay with what it is.
Do you know one thing that I don't know if I asked you already, but 3 episodes ago or whatever, the Halloween episode, she like peeks her head in to Veronica's business while she's like running this secret show.
Yeah.
They literally set up the whole scene and nothing came of that, even episodes later. So I'm just like, was it just like to show that she's just a general diabolical person? She's like a sneaky deaky biatch. Like,
yeah. And I think also like, because there's been such a focus on the men in the town and like the dads being like these like really strict and like really like polarizing figures in the town, to have one of them be a mom, I think was a really cool spin on that.
Right.
Once again, we're too late in the season to really like develop that and look into that further as to why as like the mom she's that extremist. Because you see Mary and she's not that crazy, and Mary's like totally normal. So that would have been a really interesting like dynamic to look into further, I think, if this was a regular season and we had a bit more time to be like, okay, why are the dads and like, oh, how come you're the only mom that's like so extreme? We're not going to get that deep into things, right? But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. And I just feel like Alice has had shit from literally from time. Like since season 1, she's just been a terrible mom. She has had her redeeming moments season and season and season and season again. And I just feel like at this final season to have this same character, I just wasn't blown away by the way they like kind of sealed the deal with her. But anyways, well, let's move on. Last scene, Betty's writing to all the girls of the world, and she says, "You are not alone in this world. We are girls. We girls are that hope that we have in the world."
I love it.
And that's the end of that. So that's the episode. Girl power, who run the world, girls, etc., etc.
Wasn't my favorite.
Definitely was my favorite. I think just in general, had this come a little bit earlier in the season, had it come like episode 2 or something, then it would have been like, okay. But then this was all about, Ethel's redemption story, Alice's redemption, quote unquote, story. So I get why it was placed here, but it just felt like a filler after 5 more we have 4 more episodes after this.
I agree.
We have 4 more episodes after this. What are you guys doing? So like, I'm just annoyed that this even like,
it felt like a send off to Ethel and Shannon Purser. But it's like, okay, but like, guys, we're finishing, but maybe that was their way of finishing up her storyline too, you know?
Yeah. And if that is really what it is, like if RAS is like, this is all just for Shannon Purser because we like love her so much and she needed to show her talent, so we built this entire pageant around that, then I'd be like, I'll take it. Sure. Because Ethel's amazing and so is Shannon. So I'm like, I'd be okay with that, but like outside of that, there's literally no reason why this episode should have existed.
I agree. So, and it seems like people thought the same thing. So.
It's just a bummer. I'm just sad.
Or like, if you're gonna do this, at least put something in there that advances the main storyline. Like, do something. But like, there's like no hint at that whatsoever. So it's not giving me finale material at all. It's just not giving final season.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Sorry, before. Yes, just quickly, do you think they wrote this season knowing it was their final season?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like
they did, right?
I feel like we had known like summers ago that they were going, like they had announced that this was going to be the final season. Right. So I feel like they had known for a while. And that's what I mean. I think we came in here really expecting a lot from this final season and really them pumping it out. And I just feel like this is starting to feel a little bit flappity. But we'll see how the next 4 episodes go. I just don't
flappity.
I don't know.
Agreed.
I'm starting to lose hope, which is unfortunate. Okay, let's get into the recap roundups.
Okay.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment is going to be the Alice reading out the name because it was such a funny twist of events. I did not think it was going to happen.
You're like, yeah.
And I was cracking up, and it was my best moment.
Amazing. My best moment is Ethel singing because I just thought that she like killed it. I think like we haven't seen like a performance like that for I think a while. Like I think the last one that I really shook me that way was like Lily Reinhardt's like Betty's like years ago. She did like a solo performance.
The serpent one.
No. I think she like did a song, like it was like their musical episode.
Oh, okay.
And I remember it being really emotional, and she's so talented. So like this was the first time in a really long time that I was like, wow. And like also Shannon Purser, like kill it. She killed it.
Yeah, she did.
WTF moment.
What was your WTF moment?
The WTF moment, I think, was like that whole like unveiling of the winner, and like it just felt so like Moonlight and La La Land at the Oscars moment. And I didn't know what to expect, and I was like thinking it's gonna be the opposite, where like Alice is gonna set up Betty to like lose.
Right.
So, which she kind of does, I guess. But yeah, I was just shook at that. Yeah.
My WTF moment is going to the fact that Ethel didn't actually win, because I wasn't like, I really wasn't paying attention. So when I saw the card, I was like, oh snap, that's a twist.
I wanted her to win. Like I wanted the town and those men to see the beauty in her and be like, she deserves to win. But that ain't how the world works.
Ain't no way, not those old farts.
Nope.
But yeah, I was glad and that's the thing, like it's not even just Ethel not actually winning, it was also Alice being like, no, I just did that.
Exactly. MVP.
Who's your MVP?
My MVP, and it's gonna be a hot take, but it's Alice.
Ooh, okay.
And I'll tell you why. Obviously there are things that she still like did that were very shady, but like it's taken all season, and I finally got a little glimmer of the old Alice, and
Tiny.
like there is hope still there. I do believe in her. There's a little bit of hope. That last scene was like really emotional. And ultimately, like I did love that she chose Ethel to win. Like she deserved all those things because she needs to go live her life.
She's like, go give her thing. Yeah, exactly. My MVP is gonna go to Betty, because she did the damn thing. She pushed everything. She got Ethel to join. Like, I don't know. I think
she
Betty
did. She did.
Slayed.
LVP.
Who's your LVP?
My LVP is also gonna be Alice.
Ooh, twist.
So she is my MVP and she is my LVP.
Oh man, I think it's like a Riverdale recap first.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys can all see that she clearly was this crazy asshole
horrible
all episode. You know, in the last seconds, she slightly redeems herself. But and I have to say too, like the acting, like Midge and Amick was like amazing. Like she had 85% of the lines this episode. Like she held it together.
And that's the thing. There's never any shade toward
Totally.
Machen. I think that she plays the character the best she can. But like it's like I said a few episodes ago. Like, what did the conversation between RAS and like Machen have? Like where he was like, okay, this season, this is how your character is gonna be, and she was like, got it.
I just wish there was a little bit more of that understanding of why she's doing these things.
Exactly.
That's all. That's it. That's all we could have wanted.
That's all we would have wanted. Yeah. My LVP is going to be Alice as well.
The best line.
What was your best line?
My best line, I don't remember the exact wording, but it is when at the end when Betty's like, I know what you did. I know who you are deep down. And like, Mom, I love you.
I love you, Mom.
And I just thought that was sweet.
Right. My best line is one of the jabs that Cheryl was making to Evelyn while they're all like sitting around like talking, and Evelyn says something like, if you ask me, blah 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 blah, and Cheryl says, funnily enough, no one is asking you, no one is, you goon from Saskatoon. I was like,
I was like,
is that
Saskatoon,
shout out
like
to
in Canada? Yeah, right.
yeah. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah. They had some really funny, like in that one scene where she says Saskatoon, like they kept going back and forth. I'm like, okay, like relax.
Like, girls,
if you hate her this much, like get her off the table. I also thought it was really I also thought it was really funny when they're doing their like the ending, they're bowing. And like Veronica tries to grab Evelyn's hand to like be all like one, and she's like, no, she's like, don't touch me. I thought that was really funny.
Such random little moments, but they were cute. Okay,
our recap roundups from our listeners. I don't know if we have that many this week, but and we're doing this kind of late, guys. But at Sierra and 7:15, right?
Yep.
After what I felt like was a strong episode last week, this episode went back to sucking. I really don't anticipate a decent ending at all because it's still just time wasting and I'm bored of it. MVP, CHONI, and I wish we actually focused more on the implications of them winning as queer/POC people, as I think what they did with Ethel was fine, but like it's the final season of a 7-season show. Why did we decide that Ethel Muggs needs an actual storyline? When you have characters who have been actually important from time, like it's the same with Midge and Fangs, why do we have to care about them now? I also think Tabitha absolutely would have been perfect for this episode. And again, she just wasn't. Yeah, she would have been perfect.
That's so true.
LVP, Evelyn, though I'll say Zoe, the actress, is hilarious and she's not getting enough credit because she's killing it. Though again, why is she here and why do we decide now is the time to focus on her? I was about to say the same thing. I didn't understand why they were pushing so hard for Evelyn. Like, what does it matter that she was going to be on the stage or not? Like, it, like,
she didn't need to be there necessarily.
Her. So I just didn't. I'm like, is she gonna come back later? Like, I don't get why.
She didn't like sabotage anything.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything crazy. So like, yeah,
I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Best moment, Ethel's song. Shannon ate that up, and I'm shocked she didn't get more numbers in the musical episodes because she has an amazing voice. Best line, I shouldn't there be a pill? Veronica. I love how she casually invented birth control. Yeah, so true.
I got CHONI 5 on it here.
Okay, go for it.
Their best moment is the pageant was fun. I forgot the boys existed. Same.
Yeah.
WTF moment, everyone basically calling Ethel ugly and saying her winning over the first black girl would be good for Riverdale. God. LVP, the writers for making Ethel win and having Clay say, if there's any justice in the world, Ethel would win. Over Tony, who's black. Sorry, but that makes zero sense to me, and it was stupid that was the case. That's a really good point. I never really even thought about that he like didn't vote for Tony to be like, get it, girl. MVP is Tony. I loved her banter and her quick wit this episode. Yeah, because she had a few like slingers back at Evelyn too. Best line, Tony calling Evelyn a preppy troll. And then their final comment was, also Fangs can't act.
I know, I died. Did you get Mackenzie's thing?
I can do Mackenzie's.
Yeah.
She gave us a big one, so I'm just gonna try to power through it. But this episode would have been great for the first episode, which we agreed. Overall, it was okay, just could have been better placed. Best moment, the girls working together and sharing scenes together as they typically don't have them all together without the boys. The boys' reaction to the competition, they were also silly. That's what happens when you leave them all alone for one episode. Very
Seriously.
true. What the WTF moment is all the Mangs content, like Midge and Fangs. It's like they gave them episodes worth of content again in one episode. Plus, Alice's problematic nature in this episode, not allowing Ethel to join the competition for many reasons, including her borderline fat phobia, it seems, the forcing of confession out of Midge that she's pregnant and she's sent to the sisters, to then at the end a really poor attempt of an episodic redemption arc by choosing to say Ethel's name instead of Betty's, which was on the card.
Right.
As we see, anyway, so there's more. Best moment, the Riverdale girlies for rallying around Ethel. LVP, the boys, the whole group of them, literally their one scene at Pops was so random and stupid. They barely brought anything to this episode. It just wasn't a boys episode, I think.
No, yeah.
Dronica Crumbs, she was asking about this whole like Reggie. Anyway, so there's that. Best line, dear Monica Posh, dear Sandy Sapphire. Oh my god, I didn't even notice that she says Monica Posh.
The names killed me. Yes, I'm so happy she mentioned that.
That's so funny. And dear Monica Posh, dear Sandy Sapphire, dear Coral Peasbottom, dear Bitsy Block, dear Carrie On, dear
and
Edith
Ethel Cups. Ethel Cups?
Edith Cups.
Edith Cups, because again, it's like mugs. I died.
Oh my
died.
God. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's actually so good.
Yeah.
First, let me begin by saying you are not alone in this world, and though it may not feel like it today, there is hope for a better tomorrow. In fact, we girls are that hope. Boom, bitch.
We are the hope.
Like I said, I thought the episode was great. I thought it like had a good overall vibe. I just felt like it was like not well placed.
I think you guys said it perfectly. I think this would have been a perfect episode in the beginning of the season, a couple of first episodes, but not this late in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed. That was the episode. Thanks for sticking around. And at this time, I'd like to take our Take the time to thank our patrons of the episode, our Rewinder squad. We have White, Cliff, Hannah, Julia, and Haley. Our Lit Rewinders, Tina, Ann, and Kate. And our Mommy Rewinder, Becca Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. If you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind.
And also be sure to check us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You can also find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.